Within seconds, Sahra transforms Jim from confident reporter to lost puppy by US4Trump.com. Just moments ago, Sarah Huckabee Sanders held the daily White House press conference. It was just another day at the office for Sarah as she single-handedly held down the press corps. Acosta of CNN became unruly once again, and Sarah showed her patience in a no-nonsense answer that let Jim know who was boss. Sarah rules the roost. Sarah calls on Jim today for his daily question, and of course he wastes it. He asked yesterday, the president suggested that Dr. Ronnie Jackson does not have the experience to run the Department of Veterans Affairs. Is that a fair assessment? It's almost as if Jim is asking for the smackdown as he was offering himself up like a sacrificial lamb. Obliging him, Sarah roasts him while laying down the facts. She replies, "That's not what the president said. I think you're taking some of his words out of context. Based on your tweets today, I'm sure you don't appreciate when people take your words out of context." Yeah, after he called Trump supporters that they didn't go to the right, the elevator doesn't reach the top floor, some of the floors. Furthermore, Sarah continues, so that I'd appreciate it if you'd not do that to the president. If he didn't think he had the experience, he would not have nominated him. Let's just watch as Sarah truly takes unruly Jim Acosta to the woodshed. It's interesting the way they just criticize Trump.
Yesterday, the president suggested that Dr. Jackson does not have the experience to run the Department of Veterans Affairs. Is that a fair assessment? Did he lack that experience?
That's not what the president said. I think you're taking some of his words out of context. And based on your speech today, I know you don't appreciate when people take your words out of context. So I'd appreciate if you not do that to the president. If he didn't think he had the experience, he wouldn't have nominated. He said that had been one of the questions that people had posed about him. Obviously, the president thought...
Jackson has all the experience necessary to run the department.
Look, I think he has an incredibly strong background. He's a highly qualified, highly skilled individual, and if he didn't think he was capable of doing the job, he wouldn't have announced his nomination in the first place.
Follow up if I can. Just since you brought up being taken out of context, it seems to be a press-related question. Are you trying to say that this administration is a champion of a free press?
I certainly think that, as I stated a moment ago, we support a free press, but we also support a fair press. And I think that those things should go hand in hand, and there's a certain responsibility by the press to report accurate information. I think a number of people, I'm not finished, I think a number of people in this room do that every single day. They do their very best to provide fair and accurate information. Certainly support that. That's one of the reasons I'm standing here taking your questions, and a lot of times taking your questions in a tone that's completely unnecessary, unneeded, and frankly doesn't help further the conversation or help the American people get any more information in a better way, which is your job and my job, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm going to move on. David, go ahead.
The president's tone
Jim,
towards the press.
The
president's tone towards the press obviously is not helpful at times, and I think that that's plain to see.
A Navy Inspector General had problems with the way Jackson ran his medical office, which only has 50 people in it. What makes him qualified to run a big department that's 350,000 people?
Look, I saw a number of members of both the House and Senate do interviews today, just earlier this morning, in which they said, look, we've tried this a number of other ways with people who have run massive organizations and it hasn't worked out very well. This is a different approach, but it certainly doesn't mean it's a wrong approach or that he's not qualified. This is somebody who's been on the battlefields, made decisions at a very high stress level, and saved a number of individuals' individuals' lives in some of the most trying circumstances. Somebody that understands the relationship between veterans and the needs and the care that they have as a veteran himself or as a service member himself, and somebody who has a relationship and a deep-rooted care and concern for those individuals that may be far and above what we've seen from previous administrators that have overseen that agency. He's a highly qualified individual, and we're going to continue looking at this and continue moving forward. Julie?
You know, they question everything that he does. Acosta threw a fit in front of everyone because he was not getting the answer he wants. Sahra once again broke it down for him, simply explaining the truth to him. Do you think the press corps needs an upgrade? Maybe a replacement for Jim Acosta? You know, the thing is, they never cared about the veterans before that. They never did. So now that Trump's trying to clean up their act over there at the VA, they're all of a sudden they have an issue with it. And they're talking about free press, continuously spewing their propaganda that they're not being allowed to speak. And Trump is, if it was, you know, I give Sarah Sanders a lot of credit. She handles herself very, very well. Because, you know, I would have had a few choice words that wouldn't be able to be publicized if I was Sarah Sanders. You'd have to actually hold me back, you know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.